Hey everybody, Jill here. I wanted to do a quick live today on weight training, overtraining, safety, keeping you in good health so that you can get great results. And so let's just kick it off. I want to go over a few things today. I want to go over some fitness myths that I hear from a lot of you, because generally when I talk to you all, the first thing I ask you is, what are your goals? And then I ask you, what have you been doing to achieve them? And it's funny because so often the things that you're doing are kind of like the antithesis to what you're trying to achieve. And I know it's not your fault because number one, you're not fitness professionals, right? And number two, you believe what you hear. And what we hear over and over again and what we see, especially in an age of social media, those are the things that we come to believe. They become our belief systems. And unfortunately, we're creating these belief systems inside of us that are making it very hard for us to get results because we keep repeating the same things, trying the same things, and failing at the same things. And then we just start to tell ourselves that there's just something wrong with us. You don't know for how many years I used to say that there was something wrong with my metabolism. I thought it was broken. I thought I had some kind of medical condition or something, but I was really just doing all the wrong things. And so that's really, it's too bad that we're not taught, the right things. And instead we see and we hear other people and we are influenced a lot by other people. So I want to start with a couple of myths. I just wrote some notes down. The number one thing is that a lot of times when I'm asking you guys, what are you doing right now? You're telling me, oh, well, I'm doing a lot of cardio and my calories are down around 11, 1300, something super low. And I want you to know that doing more cardio and eating less calories is actually going to be detrimental to the goals that you're trying to achieve most likely, right? And I am blanketing because with you guys, I hear a lot of the same goals. You aren't looking to get skinny. You're looking to get toned and strong and energized, right? And you want your body to be really strong and you want to see this nice toned, lean muscle, right? Because even if we lose a ton of weight, if we're still not toned, we're not happy with our bodies. And so doing a ton of cardio, eating few calories is not going to get you to those goals of lean and toned and strong, right? It's going to make it very hard for you to build any kind of muscle. So it's not, you hear a lot, especially in groups, fitness groups on Facebook. I see this as a personal trainer and I cringe. Anytime somebody says, how do I lose weight? Everyone will say, you have to be in a calorie deficit. It's like pure science. There's one thing. If you're in a calorie deficit, you're going to lose weight. If you're in a calorie surplus, you're going to gain weight. And I don't believe that's true, right? I don't believe that if you eat less calories, that you're going to burn more fat, that you're going to lose more weight, right? And so what's really important to know is that it can be dangerous if you get too low in your calories. Number one is because it's going to not permanently, but it's going hard to get your metabolism to come back up, because when you start to starve yourself, your body starts to slow down your metabolism and you're not going to have enough calories to burn fat because your body is going to be using all of those calories in your food to do the vital functions of your living and your body. And so that's not necessarily true, right? And so if you are eating so few calories and then you start to have a day where you're eating a lot, your body doesn't understand that you're eating a normal amount. It's going to want what it's used to, and everything in your body is going to slow, and you're also going to struggle with your energy, right? And we all want to be energetic. We don't want to be sluggish and skinny, right? That's not the goal. We want to be strong and we want to be energized and feel good about our bodies and feel good in our skin, right? So another myth is that rest is for lazy people, right? And that I love fitness so much that I never take a rest day. I'm a machine, right? So not taking rest days is not something to be proud of, because you want to preserve your body. You want to build those muscles. And what happens when you're working your muscles out, when you're straining them and lifting, is you're tearing your muscles. And so your muscles need time to rest. They need that time. So when you take rest days, you're actually doing good for your body. You're taking your body out of a state of stress. You're letting the muscles recover and strengthen, because you're not actually strengthening your muscles while you're lifting weights. You're tearing them. You're straining them. It's when you're resting that they rebuild. So it's not like you're not amazing if you can survive on 4 hours of sleep either at night. You really want to be getting good rest for not only your mind, but also your muscles, right? And then another myth is that you're only actually working your body out if you're sweating a ton during cardio or if you're really sore at the end of a workout. It's absolutely not true. So don't measure your performance based on the amount you sweat, how red you get, how wet the treadmill is around you, or how sore you are the next day. Because in fact, I love recovery supplements, and a lot of people too. They're like, oh, I don't need supplements. I like to be naturally strong. But there are supplements, including branched chain amino acids, that will help you repair your muscles, because we're not eating 4,000 calories a day, right? We're not eating all the foods that are going to help us repair the muscle for the work we're doing. So to have a supplement that you can have right after a workout that will prevent inflammation and soreness, that you might not easily be able to get in foods, then I think it's worth it to come back the next day and not feel sore, right? That's what I'm going for. I also think that foam rolling, stretching, and I have a Theragun, which massages out my muscles. So these are all things that are really important too, right? Don't think you're a hero if you don't like yoga because it's slow. But I used to be that way. I used to say, I don't want to do yoga. It's so slow. It's a waste of time. But I love yoga. I've been doing it for the last 2 weeks. Solely yoga to give my muscles a rest, because I don't want to do the same thing over and over and over again, or else it just breaks the body down and your body doesn't get a rest. So I'm taking 3 weeks of rest from cardio and muscle building with weights, and I'm doing yoga, and I'm seeing amazing changes in my body still, right? Okay, so rest is important. I also want to really help you understand that stress is stress. So when we're not resting and we're saying, I spoke to somebody the other day who said, after my workout, I hop on the treadmill for a half hour, or somebody will say, I hop on for an hour. I think I need to do more cardio, so I'm going to start doing the treadmill every day. But your body doesn't know the difference between the good stress and the bad stress. So if you're constantly doing high impact and high intensity movement, your body is constantly in a state of stress and most likely inflammation, right? And so again, we need to give the body a rest. So it's a really good idea because of that to not continually do the same thing over and over again, especially if you're doing the same movement over and over again and you're doing it wrong, right? So I do happen to be a running coach. And so working on running form, proper running form, right? Having your foot land the right way, having your body in the right posture, even your neck. If you ever see, and this is just a quick tip that you can correct right now, if you're a treadmill reader, right? I like to be on the treadmill forever because as long as I'm reading a good book, I don't know how people read on a treadmill, but if you're reading on a treadmill and it's not right in front of you up here and you're looking down at a book, right? Or on a bike or wherever, or a phone, right? If you're looking down, then you're actually cutting off the airway, right? So you're not going to get the most oxygen that you could when you're running as if your eyes were straight ahead looking out at eye level, right? So just a little tip. Same thing if you're doing if you're like, oh, I'm great, I'm doing squats every day, I'm doing a squat challenge and I have to do 100 squats every day for 100 days or some crazy thing like that, right? Well, number one, if you're doing your squats with the wrong form and you do 100 of those for 100 days, then you could really be doing damage to your knees and your joints and your tendons, right? And so that happened to me years and years and years ago. I said to my husband, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to do this exercise video every single day. And it was full of lunges and squats. And I ended up at the orthopedist very soon after that. And he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm doing like this workout video and there's lunges and squats and I'm doing it every morning. I'm doing really well. He's like, yeah, that's a lot of pressure to put on that joint over and over and over again without rest, right? So you have to be careful that you're doing movements in the right way and that you're not overtraining the same muscles at all, but in the wrong way either, right? So we have to be careful. I'd say that the two most sensitive joints in your body are the knees, right? Because let's say you're walking upstairs, right? Your entire body weight, when you take that step up, it's all on that knee joint, which is not in its optimal positioning, right? Optimal positioning is when everything is lined up. So if all of a sudden your knee is in that right angle, then all your body weight is on that knee joint while it's bent. So even just walking upstairs, if you're heavier or if you're carrying excess weight around, then that can be rough, right, on those knee joints. So we have to be careful with the knees, right? Make sure we have proper form, proper alignment. And that's something that I do go over in my programming with my clients. The second one is your shoulders, right? And so you hear, especially in CrossFit gyms, hear a lot about shoulder injuries because a lot of people are trying to put a lot of weight on their shoulders, and maybe they're doing back squats, or maybe they're doing, something where they're holding weight above their shoulders, a front rack squat, right? And they're holding all this weight and they're moving and they're just putting so much pressure on their shoulders. Why do you have to work your shoulders out so hard? What are you training for, right? What are you trying to achieve in life that you need your shoulder joints to be so strong, right? And so we have to take care of this joint. It's also a very sensitive joint because it moves in so many directions, right? You can move your arm up and down. You can move it to the front and the back. You can push it overhead. You can rotate the arm pretty much all the way around, right? So you have so much mobility in your shoulders that it's also prone to injury, right? So you have to be very careful with your shoulders. And that's big in so many different movements. Think of a chest press. You're using your shoulders as a secondary mover, right? When you're doing a bicep curl, like if you're moving your shoulder, you're actually bringing this weight into your shoulder. So having proper bicep movement. There's so many movements that you just have to be careful. If you've ever heard when you're doing an upright row, not to have your wrists above your elbows. It's because all of a sudden, all that weight is right in this shoulder joint, right? So with every movement, you want to make sure you're doing it the right way. Okay, so another way to avoid overtraining, which ends up in injury, and that's the last thing because then you can't train at all, is varying your workouts, right? Or periodizing. So varying your workouts means that maybe you work your chest one day, your biceps another day, your back another day, your legs another day, and that you're not trying to work everything every day, right? And some people will do upper body days and lower body days, but still, if you're working like your entire upper body for like an hour or two every other day, that can be a lot of overtraining. I can tell you that my workouts, they max out at 45 minutes, possibly an hour, but I don't even have an hour to do workouts. And I'm in pretty good shape, right? And so it doesn't take a lot of time to get in good shape. It takes consistency, it takes proper form, and it takes a building program, something that your body can't adapt to so quickly that you stop getting results. So varying your workouts, right? Varying the type of workouts you do. So I love all kinds of workouts. I love step. I love resistance band training. I love weight training. I love dancing. I love boxing. I love bar classes with little weights. I love body weight. I like HIIT. I like, all kinds of different things. And I do different, and the yoga. I do different things so that I'm constantly varying how I'm working my body, giving it a rest, and also just utilizing new forms and techniques all the time so that my body keeps seeing new changes from each different technique that I use. And so you'll see that too in what I do with my clients, is having variation, different types of workouts. And the other thing was the periodization. So only doing the same thing for so long and then changing, and just having these periods where we work on one thing, and certainly you want to work on something long enough that you can know if you're making progress, but then changing. And so you'll see phases in my training and that kind of stuff. The last thing I want to talk about with regards to safety and preventing injury is that you need to really be working in opposition, right? And so what I mean is that if you think that doing crunches every day, 100 crunches is going to get you 6-pack abs, that's not how it works, right? Number one, you're probably just going to puff out your abs, right? Because you might be doing it the wrong way. But number two, if you want a strong core in the front, you really need to strengthen the back, right? It's the same thing with the chest and the back. You have to work both. It's the same thing with the biceps and the triceps. You want to be working everything in opposition. So let's say I work my chest, right? And I do everything for my chest. And I'm going to do my chest on Monday. I'm going to do my chest on Wednesday. I'm going to do my chest on Friday. And you're going to injure your chest, right? And that's all you do. And then the other days you run. You're like, I just want to pump up my chest, right? And you can have the appearance of your chest look bigger by working on the chest muscles. They look more lifted, right? So I'm working my chest. I'm doing a lot of chest presses and a lot of chest flies and all this chest work and push-ups, right? And I'm basically shortening these muscles, right? They get tighter, And so what happens is, as you're tightening these muscles and you're not working the back, you start to round, right? And everything's tight and short. And you see these guys and they're like, right? And they got these really strong chests. You need to open this back up. So number one is stretching, but number two is strengthening the back muscles so that your back muscles can hold your shoulders back, right? Because if you have a weak back and a really strong chest, that's where we end up getting this roll forward, right? Nobody wants to walk around looking all hunched over. You want to look energized, confident, and strong, right? So I'm gonna leave you with that today. If you have questions, you let me know. And I'm always open for conversation. If you wanna work on a training plan or ask any questions, fitness, nutrition related, I'm happy to answer them. So take care.